Hi, everyone, and welcome. My name is Judith Silverman Hodara. I'm a founder and principal at Fortuna Admissions. So glad to have with us this morning Jody Keating, who's our in-house resume doctor. Welcome, Jody.
Hello.
Wanted to talk with Jody a little bit about the importance of extracurriculars on your resume. Sometimes this is the kind of thing that applicants will kind of throw on the bottom line. They don't really think it's that important. They really tend to concentrate more on what they've done professionally, what they've done academically. Can you walk us through the importance of activities, community engagement, extracurriculars, all of those things, and how to really highlight whatever talent and skills you may have?
hmm Yeah, I think that's a really good question because as opposed to a professional resume, when you're applying for a job, I wouldn't advise highlighting extracurriculars very much, to be honest. Because people go to work, they go home. Your employer is really going to only care about what you do at work. But for an MBA, it's very different because I think admissions officers are looking for how are you going to contribute to the community when you get there? Are you going to be a leader? Are you going to be in clubs and run events and be a representative of their program when you get out in the community? So I think to include extracurriculars is more important, especially I think in your undergraduate experience, because it's an academic setting. You know, what kind of student were you? What kind of student are you going to be? However, just including that you do things outside of class is not enough. The same principles apply to your professional bullets in that you should try to quantify and results as much as you can. Did you fundraise for a nonprofit, through your 10K? Did you raise money? Did you travel somewhere unusual? If you just write travel, you're going to be the same as everybody else. If you write travel, cooking, and running, you will be the same as everybody else.
Yoga is a big
Your
one.
resume, what a good friend of mine once said is that, again, these people are reading these resumes, a lot at a time, and you want to be the one that they go, oh, that's the one that climbed Mount Everest. That's a really interesting person. Or, oh, I remember that candidate was the one that was the president of their student association in college. You want to find something that they're going to remember you by, that's unique, that's not professional. Oh, that person sounds interesting. Look what they did. If you run and cook and travel, you're the same as everybody else. If you've climbed Mount Everest and you have ran a restaurant when you were in high school or as a line cook, something different and something that had an impact, especially if it's a charitable cause. If you've volunteered on the board of a nonprofit or a charity, if you've fundraised, even in college, if you're in a fraternity or sorority that did some fundraising, dollar signs are always good on a resume. So it's not something you want to blow off, which I think sometimes happens. In this instance, it's something you want to look at. Flip side is you also don't want it to take up half the size of your resume, which I have also
I
seen.
was just going to ask you that. My personal feeling, having read so many resumes when I was at Wharton, was have three, but have them have more than just a verb,
Mhm.
or a noun. Like kind of explain it a little bit more. Cooking, what kind of cooking?
Right.
Travel, where do you like to go? What's the greatest place you've been? It doesn't have to be that you've like scaled the highest mountain or swum to the bottom of the deepest sea, but something that the reader is going to be able to really like say, oh, that is super cool.
Yeah, just something to be remembered. If you do have a leadership position, if you taught a class, if you teach a yoga class, not just take a yoga class, if anything that shows that you stand out is great, but also just a little detail, but you also don't want to go too overboard either. You want to make sure that the main focus of this is your professional experience. There's no joke there, but the add-ons here, you can beef up very briefly. It just takes a couple of words, like you said sometimes.
And what about leadership experience in the framework of extracurriculars? I feel like sometimes candidates are concerned they're in a 2 or 3 year analyst program. They don't really manage anybody. But what
Right.
about using those extracurricular activities to really highlight, yeah, I've got a bunch of people that are on a committee that I'm doing.
Yeah, especially, in these instances with students that are applying to top programs,
Mhm, mhm.
they tend to be leaders. They tend to be doing things. So if you ran your office, I had one candidate who ran his intramural softball team for his office. Okay, I don't know if they call it intramural, but when companies compete against each other, he
Intercompany,
was captain of that softball team, and that's cool. That says this is a guy that people like. He's
right?
a person that can rally people. He can, he's an athlete, which is sort of a nice characteristic. It wasn't professional, but it showed leadership, even though it was outside the office and probably a lot of fun. I think if you have worked across departments, if you have a project that reaches across, maybe you didn't manage anybody, but you interface with other groups
Mhm, mhm.
laterally, that's also nice. you know, having managed people is not something you see in most resumes. Some people do, and if you have, you have to be sure to mention that. But if you haven't, try to find instances of working with others and leading others in a non-official way. And that can be a great extracurricular. It's also a great thing to look at in your undergraduate experience. If you were elected to an officer position at your sorority or fraternity or a club, if you were the president of the student association of something, or something that was elected, you want to mention elected to an office within an organization to show that, again, you're rallying people, you're getting support, you're a leader, which is what they'll be looking for.
Thank you so much. Delighted to have the chance to talk with Jody Keating this morning from Fortuna Admissions. Again, I'm Judith Silverman Hodara, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Thanks so much.
Thank you.